My wife decided to open our marriage behind my back, and I responded in a way that she will remember for a long time. My name is Dave Gardner. I was married to Lauren Gardner. We lived together for 17 years, until she decided that the rules were no longer for her. And, of course, when it all fell apart, I was to blame. The courts in our state are on the side of women. It's easy to find a man guilty. Lauren got full custody of the children, the house, part my salary, and sympathy. I got the status of a non-custodial parent. We had 2 children, 14-year-old Max and 16-year-old daughter Ellie. I thought we were happy. I loved my wife and thought she loved me. We had a stable job, we played sports, we looked good. Ellie was my little ally, interested in technology, helping me in the garage with cars. Max gravitated toward the humanities, dreamed of becoming a lawyer, and was more attached to his mother. I worked as an engineer in a private company. Lauren was an accountant at a local construction firm. Our weekdays were predictable, and our weekends were family time. It all started about a month before the big event. Lauren became increasingly distant. I would ask her what was wrong, and she would say she was tired or just not in the mood. That Friday night, I got home around 6. The house was silent. There was no smell of dinner, no laughter from the children. I thought they had all gone to their friend houses. But when I went into the bedroom, I saw a black dress, stockings, and high-heeled shoes on the bed. Lauren was in the bathroom, putting on makeup. "Where are we going?" I asked, unbuttoning my shirt. "We're not going anywhere," she answered. "Then why are you wearing makeup in that outfit?" "I have a date. I'm staying at his place for the night." I couldn't believe my ears. She continued, not taking her eyes off the mirror. "It's just one night. I need to feel that I am still attractive. If you love me, give me this chance. If you love me, you shouldn't even be thinking about this," I said. "I love you, but I need this. I'm getting older. And Devin is 10 years younger. He's flirting with me, and I said yes. If you leave, it's over. I won't accept betrayal. Don't be so dramatic. I'll be back in the morning. Everything will be like before." "No, it won't. You're breaking our vows. It's just one night. Maybe I'll even learn something new for our intimate life." I was already getting dressed in silence. When she came out of the bathroom, she went down to the hallway, checked herself in the mirror, smiled, and headed for the door. "If you leave, it's over," I repeated. "You're exaggerating. Everything will be fine." She went out, and I stayed. For the first time in years, the house was truly empty. As soon as the door closed behind her, I sank into the armchair and stared into nothing. I didn't move for nearly half an hour. It wasn't shock anymore. It was grief. 17 years of marriage. 1 year engaged. 2 years dating before that. And she just walked out. For a fling. For some attention from a younger guy. For confidence. There had been no signs. We had a healthy sex life. No big fights. Nothing that ever made me think she was unhappy. I'd have done anything for her. Anything except share her. I knew I couldn't stop her. But I wasn't going to let her walk all over me. I had a plan, one I never thought I'd need to use. It wasn't perfect, but it was what I had. I moved into the guest bedroom. It had its own bathroom, and I could live out of there until I got out of the house. It took me 2 hours to move all my clothes and essentials. I left our bedroom untouched, let her walk into the empty side and feel the absence. Then I went into our home office. Years ago, I'd opened a private bank account to surprise her with birthday and anniversary gifts. That account now had a different purpose. I transferred half of our savings and checking balance into it. Then I paid off all our shared credit cards and immediately canceled them. I applied for new cards in my name only. Monday morning, I'd redirect my paycheck. I also planned to split our investments with the help of my broker. With that done, I poured myself a glass of whiskey and tried to sleep. I couldn't. My brain was on fire, looping between anger, betrayal, and regret. I wondered if I should have said more. Maybe stopped her physically. Confronted the guy. But that way lies jail. When the sun came up, I showered, shaved, dressed, and headed downstairs. I made a full breakfast, sat at the table alone, and waited. At 9 a.m., the door opened. "I'm back, just like I promised," she said, cheerful as ever, as if nothing had happened. I didn't answer. I was in the office browsing listings for apartments. "Honey, where are you?" she called. When she found me, she stepped forward to hug me. I stepped back. "Keep your hands off me. God only knows what you've touched." Her smile faded into disbelief. "What the hell is wrong with you? You need to get tested for STDs. I want notarized proof you're clean before you come near me again. She scoffed and walked upstairs. A few seconds later, I heard, "What the hell did you do?" She stormed back into the office. "Where are your clothes?" "Your side of the bed." "What the hell is going on?" "My things are where they belong. In my new room. I won't be sharing a bed with a cheater." Her eyes narrowed. "You'll calm down. In a few days, we'll go back to normal. Not until I see a clean report from a clinic." I ignored her for the rest of the day. The kids came home early. I didn't say anything. I wanted to see how long it took before they noticed. That evening, she cooked my favorite dinner. She got dressed up, wore makeup, and tried to flirt like old times. She even poured me a glass of wine. I dumped the wine in the sink and poured myself a double bourbon. At dinner, the kids kept glancing between us. I refused to speak to her. I kept conversation light with Max and Ellie, but the tension was undeniable. Afterward, I didn't help with dishes. I went to my office, then to a bar for a burger and a drink. When I came home, I made sure she heard me lock the guest bedroom and wedge a chair under the doorknob. The next morning, I woke early. It was Saturday. Normally, I take care of the yard, help with chores, maybe work on the Mustang in the garage. Not anymore. I wasn't going to lift a finger in a house I was about to leave. I brewed coffee and started making an omelet. As I flipped it in the pan, Ellie came into the kitchen. "Morning, Dad. That smells good. Want some?" "Sure, thanks." She sat at the table with her juice. I slid the omelet onto her plate and started making another one. Max wandered in a few minutes later, rubbing his eyes. "Hey, bud. You want one too?" "Yeah, thanks." As I worked, Lauren finally showed up. She looked surprised that I was cooking breakfast. She reached for the coffee pot. "You couldn't leave me any?" she asked. "The pot's right there. You know how to make it." She muttered something and watched me with narrowed eyes. "So you're making eggs for everyone now?" they asked. "You didn't." I didn't say another word and walked out of the kitchen with my coffee. Around noon, I was in the living room watching a game when she brought me a sandwich and a bottle of beer. "I thought you'd like lunch and something cold while you watch." I didn't even look at her. When she set them on the coffee table, I kicked both onto the floor. She stared in shock as the beer soaked into the carpet and the sandwich broke apart. During the next commercial break, I went to the kitchen, grabbed another beer, and ignored the mess. She could clean it. She made it. She tried to talk again. "Derek, the kids have noticed something's wrong. We need to fix this." "Nothing to fix. I'm moving out. There's not going to be a divorce. There already is. You just haven't seen the paperwork yet." A couple of hours later, the kids sat me down. "Dad," Ellie started, "what's going on between you and Mom?" "We're getting divorced." "What? Why?" Max asked. "Because your mom did something I can't forgive. And she doesn't even regret it." "You mean the date on Friday?" Ellie asked. I looked at her. "You knew. She told us. Said you were upset. So you know she cheated on me?" "She didn't cheat," Max said. "She told you beforehand. She told me she was going out to sleep with another man." "That's not cheating. It was just one night," Ellie added. "She said she needed it to feel attractive again. And if you loved her, you'd understand. If she loved me, she wouldn't have done it. She broke her vow. She spat on it. But you promised to be with her in good times and bad," Max said quietly. "She broke her promise first. That releases me from mine." They didn't understand. Or didn't want to. They saw one night out of 20 years and thought it was nothing. They thought I was overreacting. That it was all ego. I saw betrayal. I saw the moment everything we'd built was reduced to rubble by her. Dinner was another one of my favorites that night. I didn't touch it. When Max told me it was ready, I grabbed my truck keys. "Where are you going?" "Oh, sports bar." "But dinner." "I'll eat there." At the bar, I had a burger and a couple of beers. When I got home, everyone was already in bed. The mess from the beer and sandwich was gone. I smiled. Monday morning, I left early for work. I called my broker on the way and initiated the process to split our investments. I opened a new retirement account, removed Lauren as beneficiary, and named Ellie and Max instead. I spoke to HR about updating my payroll information. I also told my boss I'd be needing time off for legal proceedings. He was understanding. That night, I didn't eat dinner at home. I returned to the same bar and told Ellie via text. She replied with a cold, "Okay." They were angry. I wasn't playing the role of the shame-filled husband. I wasn't going to. Tuesday, I took the day off and toured several apartments. By early afternoon, I found a nice two-bedroom place with a small yard. It was nothing fancy, but it was clean, quiet, and far from the house I was fleeing. I signed the lease, paid the deposit, and arranged for basic furniture to be delivered over the weekend, a couch, table, chairs. I bring my own bed and office setup. That night, when I returned home, dinner was already in progress. They didn't even bother setting a place for me. Good. I made myself a massive sandwich, grabbed some chips, poured a beer, and went to my office. 10 minutes later, Ellie stormed in. "Why are you being such a jerk, Dad? Your mother disrespected me. She cheated, and now I'm leaving. You're tearing the family apart over one mistake. It was just sex. Imagine your future husband telling you he's going to sleep with another woman for one night, and he expects you to be fine with it. That's different. Why? Because it's your mother. Because she told me first. She said if you really loved her, you'd get over it. And I said if she really loved me, she wouldn't do it in the first place." Ellie looked furious and left without another word. She slammed the door hard enough to rattle the frame. Wednesday was worse. When I got home, both sets of parents were sitting in the living room. My mom, Dad, her parents, all waiting for me. It was an ambush. "Derek," Lauren's mother began, "we don't agree with what she did, but you're overreacting. One bad decision doesn't erase 20 years. "Wrong," I said. "She didn't make a mistake. She planned it. She told me she'd sleep with someone else, and when I said I'd leave her if she did, she went anyway. That's not a mistake. That's a decision." My mom stepped in. "But she was honest. She didn't hide it. That has to count for something." "It doesn't. Telling me doesn't make it right. It's still cheating, with permission denied." Lauren's dad shook his head. "This doesn't have to end in divorce. Counseling could help. She threatened to take the kids and destroy me financially if I didn't let her cheat." I'm done. Then my father spoke. "Son, think of the kids. Think of the family. We can help you heal." I did think of them. But nobody thought of me when she walked out to sleep with someone else. They tried to guilt me. They said I was breaking the family, that I should have fought harder. But it was never a fight. She walked out on me, and now they wanted me to fix it. I left without a word, drove to the bar, ate dinner, drank just enough to take the edge off, got home late. Everyone was in bed. Thursday and Friday passed in silence. She hadn't noticed yet that the credit cards no longer worked, but I knew Saturday's shopping trip would reveal everything. Friday night, I packed more of my belongings. I made a list of what I'd take: my bed, my desk, the office chair, a few sentimental things. Everything else could rot. Lauren tried one last time. She entered my office late that night, wearing a see-through negligee, garters, heels, the whole fantasy. "The kids are staying with friends tonight," she said. "We can stop this now. Come back to bed with me." "No, I'm serious. I need you. We can fix this." "Not interested. I'm still waiting on your clinic report." She scowled. "Fine. If you keep rejecting me, I'll just call Devin again. Do what you want. Just don't bring him here. If you do, I'll be gone before you both finish the wine." She left, slamming the door behind her. A few minutes later, I heard her car tear out of the driveway. Good. While the house was empty, I loaded the bed and dresser into my truck. I packed my clothes and office gear. I slept on the couch in the office for the last time. Saturday morning, I picked up the apartment keys and started the move. The move went smoother than I expected. The leasing office gave me the keys just after opening. A few friendly neighbors even helped me unload my bed, desk, and boxes into the new place. I tipped them with beer and promised a barbecue once I settled in. By early afternoon, I'd return to the house to get the rest of my office set up: computer, printer, and the one chair I actually liked. The teenager from next door helped me with the heavier items. I didn't say much to him, but I saw him eyeing the empty bedroom with curiosity. I didn't care who noticed. I was gone. Done. That evening, my phone rang. "Caller ID, Ellie." "Dad, where are you?" "I'm home," I said calmly. "No, you're not. Your office is empty. The guest room's cleared out. Your truck's gone. Where are you really?" "You're right. I'm not at the house. I moved into an apartment." "What? Why?" "I told your mother what would happen if she went through with that date. She went anyway. Now we're done. You're being ridiculous. I thought you loved us." "I do love you. Always have. But I'm not going to stay where I'm not respected. So you're just abandoning us?" "I'm not abandoning anyone. You and Max can see me whenever you want. But I'm not living with your mother anymore. You're breaking this family. Mom said you'd overreact. I thought you were better than this. I thought your mom was better too." Click. She hung up. I sat in the quiet, staring at the wall. That hurt, but it wasn't unexpected. Lauren had poisoned the well long ago. The divorce was ugly. She dragged it out as long as possible. When the court ordered counseling, I refused to cooperate. I was ordered to attend, I told the counselor. I wasn't ordered to talk. She fought me over every little thing. Furniture she didn't even like, dishes she never used. She made visitation hell. She kept the kids busy during my weekends. Whenever I saw them, they were cold, hostile. They treated me like the villain. I sent birthday cards, gifts, letters. They were returned unopened. I kept paying child support and alimony without complaint. But the silence from Ellie and Max hurt more than any bill. Eventually, the judge finalized the divorce. I was ordered to pay half the mortgage, $1,900 per month in child support, and another $1,100 in spousal maintenance for 5 years, unless she remarried. I knew she wouldn't remarry quickly. Why give up a guaranteed paycheck? Still, she moved Devin in before the ink was dry on the divorce. He essentially replaced me overnight. Half my paycheck went to her. I cashed out a chunk of my investments and bought a small fixer-upper on the edge of town. The place was run down, but I had tools and time. I worked on it evenings and weekends, patched walls, installed floors, painted everything. It was quiet, lonely, but it was mine. Visitation stayed a joke. I get one-word replies from Max. Nothing from Ellie. I kept trying, but eventually stopped hoping. Then Thanksgiving rolled around. I call my mom. Hey, are you hosting again this year? Silence. Mom. Well, it's a bit awkward, Derek. We're hosting, yes, but Lauren and the kids are coming. She's bringing Devin too. We thought it might be too much to have you all here. You're uninviting your own son to accommodate my ex and her boyfriend? We just want to keep peace, honey. The kids are still angry, and it wouldn't be good for them to see you two together. Maybe come by on Christmas Eve. You'll be spending Christmas Day with them too, won't you? Silence again. I see. I hung up. That Christmas, I stayed home, watched action movies, ignored every call. Even the packages I sent Ellie and Max came back unopened. 5 years later, it finally ended. The alimony payments stopped. Lauren and Devin got married on the very weekend I made my final spousal support transfer. Coincidence? Not a chance. Max had turned 18 a year earlier, so child support was also over. I was free. Completely. To celebrate, I got drunk for the first time in years. Not my proudest moment, but it felt like the closing of a brutal chapter. There was still one thing left, the house. According to the divorce terms, Lauren got exclusive residency until the kids graduated high school. Once that happened, I was entitled to half the equity. I called my lawyer. At the time of the divorce, the house was valued at $310,000 with about $210,000 in equity. Now, it had appreciated significantly, close to $520,000 with $450,000 in equity. That meant I was owed around $225,000. A week later, Lauren called. What the hell is this? She snapped. Afternoon to you too, Lauren. What's the problem? A real estate agent just showed up at my house asking for my signature to start the listing process. Yes, since the house is co-owned, both of us have to sign. If you don't want to sell, you can always buy out my share. I got the house in the divorce. No, you got exclusive use until Max graduated. That was last year. Now I want my share of the equity. I'm not giving you anything. You don't deserve a dime. Then I guess we'll let a judge decide. My lawyer's already drafting the motion. She hung up in a rage. 3 months later, the court ruled in my favor. Not only was I awarded half the home's equity, plus value from the furniture and improvements, but the judge ordered her to pay both her own and my legal fees for dragging it into court unnecessarily. In the end, I received $275,000. Turns out Devin had to help cover the payout. That backfired. To get the money, Devin took out a loan through his business. He didn't document the transfer properly. When they divorced a year later, didn't last long, he tried to claim part of the house value, but had no legal proof. Since Lauren never added him to the deed, he got nothing back. Meanwhile, I poured that money into my home. I built a detached garage and workshop out back. I bought an old '71 Ford F-100 in rough shape, mainly for the chassis. Over the next year, I rebuilt it from the ground up. Engine. A 460 big block I found through a salvage connection, fully remachined and supercharged. Body. Rust-treated, primed, painted by hand. New chrome, custom grille. It was a beast. The first time I drove it, I nearly spun out from too much torque. I laughed like a kid again. One weekend, I spotted an ad for a local car show and figured, why not? I registered, drove to the park, and found a spot near a classic '67 Camaro. As I set up my canopy and chairs, a red-headed woman and a girl around 10 started unloading chairs next to me. I noticed two things immediately: no ring on her finger and no man in sight. "Morning," I said. "Nice Camaro. Thanks. I like your truck. It looks mean. It tries," I chuckled. "I'm Derek, by the way. I'm Melissa. This is my daughter, Abby." We ended up spending the day together, chatting with folks, talking cars, and laughing over sun-warmed sodas. Melissa had divorced her ex 3 years prior after catching him in bed with his boss's wife. She handled it with style. Got video evidence. Blackmailed him into signing the Camaro over to her to keep his job. Cold and brilliant. As the show wound down, I asked if they'd like to grab dinner. Red Lobster. I offered. Her eyes lit up. We're in. Over cheddar biscuits and shrimp scampi. I share my story about Lauren, the kids, the fallout. Abby listened quietly. Then she said, "She cheated, and they blamed you? That's messed up." Melissa put her hand on mine. "You didn't deserve that, Derek. I'm glad we met today. So am I." We traded numbers before saying good night. Melissa and I started seeing each other regularly. Our second date was dinner and live music at a small dance club downtown. After our third, I invited them to my place and cooked lasagna, one of the few dishes I'd mastered after years of eating alone. "This is amazing," Melissa said, licking her fork clean. Abby nodded in agreement. "You're both just being polite." "Nope," Abby said with her mouth full. "This is better than Mom's." Melissa laughed and rolled her eyes. "That's the best compliment a cook can get." We kept seeing each other. Abby was witty, bright, and blunt, and she took to me fast. She started calling me Dad after just a few months. I hadn't expected it. When I asked Melissa about it, she smiled. She says you're the first man she's trusted since her real father. She wants this. I did too. Eventually, I proposed. Melissa said yes without hesitation. We had a quiet ceremony at the county courthouse. Just a few friends, Abby, and a judge. No drama, no stress. It was perfect. They moved into my place the next month. Melissa turned the house into a home. Abby gave it life. A year later, something unexpected happened. My phone rang. Unknown number. I normally ignored those, but something told me to answer. "Hello." "Hi, Dad." I froze. That voice. It had been so long. "Ellie." "Yes, it's me. I have news. I'm getting married." I blinked. "That's wow. Congratulations. I want you to come to the wedding." "Of course. It would be an honor to walk my daughter down the aisle." There was a pause. "Actually, Devin is walking me down the aisle." Silence. "Devin, the man your mother cheated on me with. The one she married after the divorce. It would just be awkward with you and Mom sitting near each other. He's been there for me. He's paying for the wedding." I stayed silent. "I still want you there, Dad. I mean it." I took a deep breath. "Ellie, I can't support a marriage that celebrates the man who broke up our family. You've taken away the only honor I had left, walking my daughter down the aisle. And you gave it to him. You're being selfish. If you act like this, don't expect to meet your grandkids." Click. That was the last I heard from her, until Abby got involved. The next day, I was working in the garage when Abby came storming in. "Who's Ellie?" I looked up, surprised. "My daughter." "Why?" I answered your phone. "She's awful." I told her off. "You did what?" I told her if she doesn't respect you, she doesn't deserve you. That she's lucky Mom cheated and let us have you. I didn't know whether to laugh or panic. She said I'm a stranger and called me names. So I told her not to worry. We want nothing to do with traitors who side with cheaters. Then I hung up. I stared at her. "You're grounded." She frowned. "Really?" I grinned. "No. But maybe next time, ask before you roast someone on my behalf." I was just defending my dad. She hugged me, and for the first time in years, I felt whole. Later that week, Abby told me more about the call with Ellie. She didn't even try to understand. Just said you abandoned them and ruined everything. Like her mom didn't do anything wrong. I nodded. That's been the narrative for years. She doesn't know what she lost. "You're the best man I know." I didn't reply. I was still processing everything. The next few days passed quietly. Then came the wedding day. I wasn't invited, not officially, but I thought about it all day. I pictured Ellie in her dress, walking down the aisle on Devin's arm. It felt like salt in an open wound. Around 3 in the afternoon, I was working on the '69 Challenger in my garage when the doorbell rang. Still holding a wrench, I opened the door and froze. Standing on the porch was Ellie, in her wedding dress. Beside her was a tall, nervous-looking guy in a tux. "Dad," she said softly, "can we come in?" I stood there in stunned silence. I couldn't go through with it. Not without you. I stepped aside, still trying to understand what was happening. "This is Brad," she said, gesturing to the man beside her. "My fiancé." "Nice to meet you," he said, offering a handshake. Inside, Melissa and Abby were equally shocked. "Ellie, this is my wife Melissa and your sister, Abby." Ellie's eyes widened. "Sister? We can talk about that later," I said quickly. "Let's start with the fact that you just walked out of your wedding." "I didn't cancel it," she said. "Just paused it." She handed me a disc. "What's this?" "Just watch it. We'll change while you do." Melissa took her to the bedroom while Brad retrieved their suitcase from the car. I set up the DVD player and hit play. At first, it was just a normal wedding. Guests arriving, music playing, bridesmaids and groomsmen walking. Then Brad appeared at the altar. Finally, Devin appeared, escorting Ellie down the aisle. Then it changed. Ellie began her vows, but she couldn't finish them. She faltered. Her face twisted with emotion. And then she stopped. Dead in the middle of the ceremony, she told the crowd she couldn't go through with it. She turned to her mom and said, "I made a mistake years ago. I blamed the wrong parent." Then she exposed everything. The cheating, the lies, the manipulations. She even named the other men Lauren had been with. The footage was raw, unscripted, and brutal. At one point, she said, "Devin, I'll repay every cent you spent on this wedding with the same commitment Mom gave to her vows." The camera caught Lauren's face, stunned, humiliated. The crowd gasped, and Ellie turned around, took Brad's hand, and walked out. I turned off the video. When they returned to the living room in jeans and hoodies, I stood. I don't know what to say." Ellie stepped forward. "Say you forgive me." "I do. Always." We hugged. A long, quiet embrace that felt like years of pain bleeding out. "I want to do this right," she whispered. "I want to get married. But not until my father walks me down the aisle." Melissa smiled. Abby gave Ellie a hug. "You can't get married without your sister," she said with a wink. That night, they stayed in the guest room. We talked until midnight about the past, about Brad, about healing. Ellie showed me messages from guests who had stayed at the reception, enjoying the food and drinks Devin had paid for. Josh, my son, even sent her a video of Lauren and Devin arguing, with him yelling the words "cheating fraud" over and over. It seemed their perfect life was falling apart too. Ellie and Brad stayed with us for the rest of the week. They had already taken time off for their honeymoon, so instead of a resort in Cancun, they spent it in my modest home, reconnecting with me, Melissa, and Abby. It was the best week I'd had in years. We spent evenings on the porch, grilled burgers out back, talked about everything we'd lost, and what we were slowly rebuilding. Brad and I bonded over the '69 Challenger, and when I showed him the shop, he was like a kid in a candy store. He wasn't just polite, he genuinely respected me. That mattered more than I expected. By Wednesday, Ellie had picked a new wedding date, same venue, 1 year later. This time, she said, "We're doing it right." I would walk her down the aisle. I would give the toast. Melissa and Abby would help with planning. Brad's parents were on board too. The guest list was revised. This time, no Lauren. No Devin. Even Josh visited once, awkwardly at first, but he softened as we talked. He believed the lies too, but after the viral wedding video, yes, someone had posted it, he saw things in a new light. Josh told us that Devin and Lauren had officially separated. Apparently, after the wedding disaster, Devin had discovered even more of her infidelity. He moved out and filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable damage to dignity. Lauren tried to deny it, but the rumors spread fast. Their prenup meant Lauren got very little. Devin had spent nearly $30,000 on the wedding and an additional $200,000 to buy out my share of the house years earlier, money he now realized had no legal paper trail to protect him. To make things worse, the gossip Lauren spread to defend herself backfired. She told everyone Devin was inadequate in bed, refused oral, and was emotionally immature. Those words reached the wrong ears. Her social circle collapsed. People distanced themselves. Invites dried up. And she had no job to fall back on. She had to sell the house and moved into a cramped apartment outside of town. From what Josh said, she occasionally dated, but never had another serious relationship. She'd burned too many bridges. I hadn't lifted a finger. Karma had handled everything. Ellie and I slowly rebuilt our bond. She apologized every day, and I never asked for it. Her actions spoke louder than anything she could say. She and Melissa got along incredibly well. Abby loved having a big sister. And Brad? He called me sir the first month until I told him to knock it off. Then he started calling me Dad. By the time their wedding rolled around the following year, everything felt right. The new wedding day arrived exactly 1 year after the first. The sun was shining, the sky clear, and I stood tall in a tailored navy suit as Ellie put the finishing touches on her dress. This time, there was no tension, no secrets, no shame. Melissa was already seated in the front row next to Abby, who was proudly wearing her light blue bridesmaid dress. Brad waited at the altar, nervously adjusting his cufflinks and beaming at everyone who walked in. Everything had changed. The organist began playing the processional. I took Ellie's hand and stepped into the church aisle. "You ready?" I asked her. "No father is ever ready to give away his daughter," she said, mirroring something I once told her. "But I'm honored to have you do it." That line hit me like a punch to the heart. I walked her slowly, each step echoing the years we'd lost, the pain we'd survived, and the bond we'd finally repaired. She held onto my arm tightly, not because she was nervous, but because she was proud to have me there. As we reached the altar, I gave Brad a firm handshake and looked into his eyes. "Take care of her. She's been through hell to stand here." "I will, sir. I promise." I kissed Ellie's forehead and whispered, "I love you." "I love you too, Dad." I stepped back and joined Melissa in the front row. She smiled and took my hand as the ceremony began. Ellie's vows were loud, confident, and tear-filled. To have and to hold, in sickness and in health, in good times and bad, and to never take a single moment for granted. When the priest said, "You may kiss the bride," the applause nearly shook the walls. The reception was held in the same venue as the one from the year before, but this time the energy was completely different. The room pulsed with genuine joy. No tension, no forced smiles, no awkward guests pretending not to see the cracks beneath the surface. Ellie had learned. She had rebuilt. And she had earned every moment of this. I gave the father of the bride toast after dinner. I raised my glass and said, "There was a time I thought I'd lost my daughter forever. That the path back was buried too deep. But what I didn't realize is that love, real love, doesn't die. It just waits quietly for the moment someone is brave enough to walk toward it again." And she did. "Ellie, I'm proud of you." And "Brad, welcome to the family." Cheers erupted. Then came the father-daughter dance. She picked our old favorite, a soft rock ballad we used to sing along to in the garage when she was little. I hadn't heard it in years, and as the chords played, I felt tears press behind my eyes. "You're not crying, are you?" she teased, her voice shaking. "Shut up and let me lead," I laughed. As we danced, I noticed a familiar face sitting alone at one of the tables near the back. Lauren. She wasn't on the official guest list, but Josh had mentioned she might show up. She wore a subdued green dress, her makeup too heavy, her hair trying too hard. She clutched a wine glass and looked tired. Devin wasn't with her. I hadn't spoken to her in nearly 6 years. After the dance, as Melissa and Abby pulled Ellie onto the dance floor, I felt a tap on my shoulder. I turned around to find Lauren standing there. "May I have one dance?" she asked quietly. Melissa glanced over. I looked at her. She raised an eyebrow, then smirked and said, "Just bring him back in one piece." Lauren and I stepped onto the floor as a slow song began. I kept my hand lightly on her waist and held her at a safe distance. "You look good, Derek," she said. "So do you," I lied politely. "I didn't think you'd forgive me." I never expected Ellie to. "I didn't do this for you. I did it for her." She nodded slowly. "I thought you'd give me that one night. That we'd move past it. I told you what would happen if you went through with it. You chose to believe I was bluffing. I was lonely. I felt invisible. And so you made me feel disposable." We moved in silence for a moment. "I never loved Devin," she said. "Not the way I loved you. He was a placeholder. Then you shouldn't have traded forever for one night." She winced. "I'm not here to beg," she said, her voice brittle. "I just wanted you to know. I was wrong." I nodded. The song ended. "Goodbye, Lauren," I said. She walked away slowly, back to her lonely table, her shoulders a little lower than before. After the dance, I returned to my seat beside Melissa. She squeezed my hand gently. "You okay?" she asked. "Yeah. Just a closure, I think." Looked like she needed it more than you did. I nodded. Abby leaned in from the other side. Was that her? I didn't need to ask what she meant. "Yes. She looks miserable." "She made her bed," Melissa said. "She burned it, then tried to sleep in the ashes," Abby added with a smirk. That got a chuckle from me. Meanwhile, Josh approached. He had that same hesitant air he carried the last time he visited. Guilt and confusion still clung to him. "Hey, Dad, can we talk outside?" "Of course." We stepped out onto the patio where a few guests were enjoying the cool evening air and string lights swayed in the breeze. I owe you an apology, he said. I'm listening. For years, I blamed you. I believed everything Mom told us. That you gave up, that you walked away, that you broke the family. And now, I've been watching, paying attention, seeing what's real. Mom, she's never stopped playing the victim. But everything crumbled around her. Devin left. People stopped calling. Even Grandma and Grandpa distanced themselves. But you built something better. I just lived my life, Josh. No, you lived it well. And I'm sorry I didn't see that sooner. I put a hand on his shoulder. It's never too late to get it right. We stood quietly for a while. You think Ellie and Brad will last? He asked. I think they're starting stronger than most. And that matters. He nodded. Think I could come by sometime. Get to know Abby. Maybe have dinner with you and Melissa. I'd like that. As we re-entered the hall, I saw Melissa smiling. She had been watching from the window. Abby, too. My family was growing again. This time, I wasn't letting it go. The weeks after the wedding felt like healing in motion. Like the final layer of old skin finally peeled away. Josh came by the house for dinner the next Friday. Abby had cooked spaghetti with garlic bread, and Melissa made her famous chocolate pie. It was the first time in years that all three of my kids, in whatever form the universe had given them to me, sat around the same table. We laughed. We argued over movie rankings. We compared favorite engines and worst food poisoning stories. For the first time in a long, long time, I felt whole. Josh and Abby clicked almost instantly. She teased him about being too proper. He gave it right back by roasting her TikTok obsession. Later that evening, I walked into the garage and found the two of them peering under the hood of Abby's '74 Firebird. She's a monster, Josh said. You rebuild this? Yep. With Dad. Took 2 summers. You know, I've never worked on a car before. You will now, Abby said, tossing him a wrench. I stood in the doorway for a minute, just watching. No words. No sounds. Just that peaceful clinking of tools and low conversation. I thought of everything I had lost. But more importantly, I thought of what I had gained. The bitterness faded into a kind of quiet pride. I had lost a house, time, reputation, connection. But I rebuilt all of it, not the same, maybe not even better, but true. Ellie called every few days, planning a honeymoon road trip with Brad up the Pacific coast. She wanted to stop at car museums and send me screenshots of places to recommend. Josh made our Friday dinners a habit. Abby kept pushing herself, entering car shows, winning small trophies, racing some of the local boys who didn't take her seriously until she left in the dust. Melissa stayed my anchor, my peace. One night, sitting on the porch, she said, "You know what the best part of all this is?" I looked at her, waiting. "You didn't just survive it. You created something better in the aftermath." "That's rare." "Surviving was the easy part," I replied. "The hard part was staying kind." She kissed my cheek. "You did both." Years later, I stood once again in a suit, the scent of church candles and flowers hanging gently in the air. But this time, it wasn't Ellie I was walking down the aisle. It was Abby, my youngest daughter, not by blood, but by every bond that mattered, held tightly onto my arm. Her red hair framed a confident, radiant face. The same girl who once called my biological daughter a spoiled brat was now walking into her own forever. "I can't believe this is happening," she whispered. "No father is ever ready to let go," I said, echoing the words I'd spoken once before. "But I'm honored to do it for you." Music swelled. Guests rose. And we walked. Melissa cried quietly in the front row, clutching a small bouquet and my handkerchief. Ellie and Josh sat beside her, proud, tearful, and whole. After handing Abby to her groom, a kind, awkward young man named Lucas who loved her car nearly as much as he loved her, I sat back and watched the next chapter of my family's story begin. Later that evening, at the reception, Lauren wasn't there. She had been quietly told not to come. Ellie made it clear, this day belonged to the people who had earned their seats. During the father-daughter dance, I held Abby close as she laughed and cried at the same time. "I hope I did everything right," she said. "You did," I told her. "You chose love, not revenge. Loyalty, not pride. That's all I ever hoped for." After the dance, I stepped aside and let the younger crowd flood the floor. Melissa wrapped an arm around my waist. "Can you believe this life?" she asked. "I lived through hell to get here. And I'd do it again if it meant this." We danced. We toasted. And as the night wore on, I looked around the reception hall and thought, this is what revenge truly looks like. Not screaming. Not court orders. Not bitterness. It's peace. It's freedom. It's building something so strong that no one who tried to break you can even reach it anymore. Lauren lived in a rented 1-bedroom near the interstate. From what Josh occasionally shared, she still blamed everyone but herself. Her friend's circle had vanished. Her smile had dulled. The woman who once demanded just one night ended up alone every night. Devin? Last I heard, he moved 2 states away after his business failed. Rumor had it he went bankrupt and now worked for someone half his age. As for me, I had Melissa. I had Ellie, Josh, and Abby. I had my cars, my shop, and my peace. The best revenge wasn't loud. It was simply living a good life and letting karma drive the rest of the way.